This is Richard back at you. Today we got Eric's O2 Tahoe in the house. Private property. No trespassing, guys. That's pretty cool. But hey, we got the girls over here helping Cody, learning every day on what makes these vehicles tick, how to put them in, how to take them out, how to work the scanner. I mean, all that type of stuff. These girls are, I mean, they're learning a lot, let me tell you. They're way advanced right now. It's amazing how much these girls have learned. We got Annie hanging out over here. She's learning a lot too every day. So, but let's get in here. We got Eric's four-wheel drive Tahoe, 4L60 removable bell housing style. So pretty dirty. It's got 184,000 on it. Quite a few miles. Quite a few miles. I don't know how it's been taken care of or anything like that, but it was probably one of the hardest vehicles to get out we've had. I mean, a lot of the bolts were rusted and stuff like that. Twist a lot of bolts off, and bolts that we're going to have to replace and put back in there. So, but you can kind of see here just the corrosion that it has. I don't know if it's been in underwater, in water a lot, or just down by the coast or something like that. We don't see this type of stuff around here a lot. We just don't have that type of wear.
This is from New York.
Yeah. Oh, is that where it's from? So that tells you guys. But here in Texas, we're dry to the bone, let me tell you. Hot all the time. And we do have a lot of humidity sometimes. We're close to Oklahoma, so. But it's just got the standard TMBX torque converter. Fluid's already drained out of it. We had this unit out actually yesterday evening, and we didn't get a chance to do a video on it, so. Get the lockup O-ring off here. Like I said, if these ever, even if you're having to put a new converter in one, if the O-ring's setting below the groove here, the surface, always replace it, because that physically right there will cause a no lockup issue. So you always want to replace that. Before I get to beating on this thing, I don't trust the contamination that's on this thing, so I dang sure don't want it in my eyes. Every time I take these bolts out, I always pray that they call come out, because I'm telling you, those things are hard to get out at times. When back when they had all them hurricanes come through down on the coast down there, we actually had bulletins out about working on vehicles that's been underwater and stuff like that. It's been around sewage and stuff, so you don't want to get that stuff in your eyes or anything like that for sure. Cuts, anything like that. So the girls have been down here tearing down cores. Probably tore down 150 or so cores in a couple weeks, so they did really good. Earned some pretty good paychecks. Somebody asked me if we actually pay them, and shoot, yeah, that's what they're here for. We have our stock servo here. Now it is a four-wheel drive. We probably won't put a Corvette servo on this, but we still are going to put the wide band Z-Pack and all that type of stuff. We don't want to do an overkill on this thing and cause hard shifting, customer complaints and stuff like that. So. I never like taking these housings off. It's always a bear. You think that have made it, we can get a wobble in there good. You can get it in there first, get it loosened. Always leave some tight, that way the tail housing doesn't cock and put it in even a bigger bind. That way it kind of just hit the impact a little crook and it'll screw it on out. You don't have to fight it. Oh, what am I doing? Teresa, you didn't see that one?
Yeah.
You just wasn't going to tell me, was you? So these are aluminum and stuff. You can just very seldom see these break unless we have drive shaft issues or something, but pretty good adapter there. I gotta watch Cody. He put a few extra pieces in there. Like I said, I'm really not sure what was wrong with this one.
He said there really wasn't anything wrong. He just wanted you to go through it. It's got a lot of miles on it.
Okay.
We're going to do the transfer case also.
Okay. That's all that. I didn't mean to, Teresa. Get our detent spring off for our rooster cone there for our park reverse neutral drive selector. For our PWM solenoid, 3-2 downshift solenoid. This is a really nice looking tranny right here. Don't see any metal in here or anything like that. Pillow switch, shift solenoids. We see a lot of people ask questions, you know, why are these things so loose? You'll have one tight, one loose, and it's basically the seal itself in here is just getting wore out that goes around the solenoid. You can put just a new O-ring on there and it'll tighten it right up. So the gentleman that sent me these screwdrivers said that he's going to send the girls some. He texted me yesterday or on Facebook and said that he's going to send them a pair. Said they're not done. I had him clean up the table and stuff, and this place is a mess. When you tear down 150, 200 cores, it's almost impossible to keep the shop clean where you're doing it at, so you just got to be prepared. You can mop and mop and mop, and you're just going to start spreading oil, pretty much. Teresa, did he say if he took care of this, did he service it a lot, or did he buy it new? Yeah. So if that's so, then this thing's got 184,000 miles on it, guys. So servicing does wonders, let me tell you guys. Clean fluid, clean filter, no pump starvation, anything like that. You can see your pillow switches here. You always get a lot of accumulation here of metal and stuff on top of these. It doesn't really affect them that much. It's not like you'd shorten them out or anything like that. Now, the earlier design that didn't have a cover over the circuit board type stuff, then we had issues there shorting out, but not so much in here. Like I said, there's probably not going to be anything done to this since he bought it brand new. Mainly look at the valve coloring. Some of the valves will be coated, some won't. Some will be steel. If the valve's coated, look for any darkness or any wear. You can always go out, if you have valve bays laying out, you can go get another valve that looks really new, really good color, and just swap it out. So you can be pulling trailer or anything with this tree? So what does he do with it?
They get a lot of starters now that he uses starters.
Oh, does he?
So they're in Arizona right now.
Right. So they dropped it off. They come in and dropped it off?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we have a nice plastic piston here. Like I say, mainly these wear in the middle, and you can start to see how much wobble that little shaft's starting to get in there. So find you aluminum one. The early cores have aluminum ones, or just get you a new one when you order your kit. If you don't have your tranny apart, just order you one anyway. That way you have it sitting there and you're not having to reorder. The Scotch-Brite this up really good. That way your piston slides good. Put new O-rings on your 3-2 downshift solenoid. Change your pressure control solenoid. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of things you really have to do to the valve body to make these things survive. And that shows you there, just servicing them, the mileage this gentleman got out of this thing. And it was still going. So, of course, we're starting to see plate wear and stuff like that, so which is normal. That type of mileage, we'll repair that.
Some of them are down here.
Okay. So I guess a nice aluminum piston put in there for the 1-2 accumulator. 99.9% of the time, you can always use your springs back, and your piston will be up to the top. So if it's not, then try to shim it to where the piston is up to the top, where there's pressure on the piston right off the bat and spring. But always put an aluminum one in here. See, that's just a little bit below. So you can space that up and get that even. So it's the little things that matters, guys, that make these things work really good. When you slow down, take your time and stuff. So you can repair your plate. A lot of these others, this one here need repaired. Possibly this one. The rest of them, this one. Like I say, if you got to do the whole plate, just find you another plate. It's just not worth messing with it. If you got real high mileage, just go ahead and order your plate with your kit. Or order your shift kit that comes with the plate. So basically check in here for fluid. Put your new harness in there that comes with the solenoid. If your harness is good, you can cut this off and put a fit-all solenoid on the end of here and save your harness. If they're not leaking, sometimes, it's kind of like when's it going to start. So it's kind of a toss-up. You got to be really careful. Now you notice our 4th gear accumulator here didn't even have a spring in there. Or excuse me, it fell out. I've seen them actually come in there with no springs, so that's why I said that. So, but we do stack them and block it that way. So, but if you ever seen one that doesn't have a spring, it is normal in some of them. So. Grab your park lever here and just kind of push it and turn your output shaft, and it'll lock it right in so you can get to that bolt right there. Pretty simple. We had a customer actually build his own tranny at home and bent this lever right here when he's at the car wash. The case fell over and he bent it and he didn't know it. So now when he puts it in manual low, it would try to put it in park. It would just barely touch the ring gear on the park there, and it would make a click, 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 click. You move it to second, go away, put it back to low, click, click, click. It would never go into park totally in manual low, but park did work when he put it in park. So we just took it apart, put in a new lever and rooster cone in here and fixed it for him, so he was good to go. But other than that, I mean, he's already been, shoot, how many miles, Teresa? He went a long ways.
A long way. You need to squeegee your table.
Oh, I do, don't I?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Getting pretty thick.
I got a girl stole all my squeegees. Collecting a lot of oil for winter. We like to get about 8 55-gallon drums up. We have a clean burn heater that we heat the whole shop, so We want to get prepared early. We've probably used up to 10 55-gallon drums before in the winter up here.
Oh yeah.
Because we have some crazy winters here.
Last year for sure.
We're actually above or below temperature right now than we normally are for being what time of the year it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been 63, 68 in the mornings. Normally that don't happen around here. So we look for any type of wear. It looks really nice. Really good looking pump for the mileage on this thing. It's amazing what servicing does to a tranny. You see here, not a whole lot of wear there either on the pump slide. Mainly we see a lot of wear through here. You can start to see that little ring right here is showing. That's where we start seeing wear here. And then we'll start seeing wear on this pin where this thing here isn't running true on it. Let's see if we have any wear on there. It actually looks pretty good. Looks really good considering. But like I said, this O-ring right in here gets weak too. Once it gets weak, it lets this move around a lot more. So your overhaul kit will come with a new ring there, and then you put that on top of it. So, and this pump rotor looks really good too. I mean, you could have definitely went a lot farther into the pump. You can see here it's barely halfway through. So it'll have to be, when we put our new converter in there, we'll check it because it could end up the exact same way if we don't check it and put spacers in here. So we want to grab that whole pump rotor, not half of it. So pretty. But the pump body's really nice. You can buff that up. Your spring. There you go.
Glad you can catch that in there.
Yeah. Your band anchor. So I like to get that out of the way. That way you can just grab that and pull it out. If you don't get it out of the way, then your band hangs on this lip right here. And then you can't pull it out. And you get it all cocked around in there. And next thing you know, you're fighting it for 30 minutes trying to pull that dang thing out. But if you get that out of there, you have your band anchor there that mounted in the case. And your servo comes in here on the side, makes it work. So you got second gear there. Your 3/4 clutch comes on. Your second gear band comes off. Your second gear comes back on for fourth. So your band's actually used twice when you come to a stop and shift it back up for second and fourth. Your 3/4 clutch stays on for third and fourth. That's why they call it a 3/4 clutch. So pretty simple. I'll look here for any bowing. We have a place over here. I don't know what I did with it. I've been cleaning all morning. But you can stick your nice metal plate on here. Check for any type of bowing or anything like that in the middle. Because this thing have enough pressure to physically bow this in the middle. And you want to check it all the way around. Now when we put our wide band on there, it'll physically cover the whole drum. So these little factory bands, I mean, you can see that they just don't cover half the drum. I already got my new band soaking, but I'll pull it out, but it'll physically go from side to side the whole. But you can see how that would squeeze that drum right there. Now reverse clutches. Looks really good. You can see here where your bevel plate's starting to push in the middle and then working its way out when it applies this clutch here. So that's how it applies here, starts flattening and then flattens out. So you can see that. But then once it flattens out, it plugs this hole right here and then goes ahead and pressures up. So they kind of use the bevel plate and that hole as a check ball. That's how they do that. So And so you can Scotch-Brite this up, change your bushings. You really want to put about a 180 grit on this all the way around. You don't want to polish that. You want a pretty rough surface. And this bearing here, like I said, guys, you always want to check it, and this shim right here. If you start seeing a lot of wear on your spacer right here, this is a selective washer, you better check this bearing, because when this bottom race and this bearing starts spinning, 90% of the time it's because this bearing's going bad, and you're going to start seeing it on the back of here because it's going to start rubbing here. So you always want to check that. Now you can air check your drums too. You can leave fluid in here. You can see if there's any leaks or anything around here while your drum's together. After you get done building it even, I mean, you can do that. You can air check all this stuff.
And we know what air checking does already.
It can blow fluid sometimes, but you can hear it working. Now we do have a bleed orifice here, but we don't see any fluid coming around here. You can come in and grab the next one. Look at that, nice and tight, no leak at all. Just perfectly holding. Look at that. Come up to the next one. Now this in here I believe bleeds over a little bit. Yeah, I'm sorry, Teresa. So you can hold your finger on that hole. Look at that. Nice and tight. And this hasn't been rebuilt or nothing like that. We don't see any air coming around here. Once you get it built too, you can check the air if it's coming out of the bottom part too. So let me show you. We get our 3/4 clutch back out here. Try to put these snap rings in places where they're not hanging over like that. You don't want that. You want to try to get that in, your tip in here. You know, try to get them in here. Don't leave that hanging out in the middle like that. And then you can see your 3/4 clutch is starting to wear on the tip here. On about 1/8 of an inch is gone on these end tips here, which what we see a lot of. What causes it? Really hard to say. A lot of miles on this thing, so our load springs are pretty tall still. We'll check them with a new one over there and just see what the height is on them, make sure they are good. Now if you're putting an Alto 14 clutch kit in here, you will need a new backing plate because, or a ply plate, excuse me, they do not come with it. So if yours is bowed or wore out, you're going to have to get one to use that kit. Now if you buy a Z-Pack, you don't have to do that. It physically comes with everything. So. Same way with this snap ring here, you want to keep the tips out of the openings. Now as you're air checking this stuff, I mean you really can't see any leaks or anything around in here. Now you do have your lube circuit here. You can put it together, leave everything out, and look for leaks around these splines right here. If you see anything here, but the way this drum air checks so tight, I guarantee there's no leak in that drum. It's just tight as can be. I mean, it's physically holding pressure. So we have our forward clutch and our engine brake clutch here. Looks really good. Like I said, almost 99.9% of the time we have to change this hub there. And it's because of this brass washer. For some reason this brass washer here just wants to eat this up right through here. And there's like 30 thousandths gone right there. It'll physically wear it so much it locks it, makes its own pat groove and spins like a bearing. So it locks it in there. So the new metal ones we use, it doesn't do that. See, this one here is perfect. No damage on it at all, but see that one? Okay, so just put a new hub in it. When you put your new sprag assembly in there, it'll have metal races, so it'll have a dual cage sprag too. So check your race here, Scotch brite it up really good. Change your bushings. Now you can see this bushing is knocked down almost excessive. I mean, it's knocked down in there pretty far from the factory. Even that one is. Actually, if this thing hasn't been rebuilt before. I mean, it's not blocking anything, but I don't, any of the lube holes or anything, but I just don't put them down. I like the bushing to be more center in the gear, a little bit farther out. See, it gives you a lot better support. So, we just got some 4-pinion planets. We tore down 2 cores the other day, 4L60Es, that had perfect 5-pinion planets in them. I mean, some of the prettiest 5-pinion planets you ever seen. So, some of these cores we get, the whole core goes in the trash. I mean, it's like gambling, I guess you could say, when it comes to a core. Actually, sometimes some of these trannies that come in the shop are gambling, huh? Because I mean, some of them, they ain't in the core. I'll get this snap ring off here. There we go. Roller bearing hub here. Check all your gears for any pitting, any pin turns purple or anything like that. Check that bearing there. Mistake and put this gear on there and just really push hard on it. And you can feel that bang. If it's got any pitting or anything, you're going to feel it. So, put a new clutch hub here for the forward drum. Let's see here. This kind of mileage, this thing ought to have some pretty good wear on it here. And you can, of course, you can see we're starting to strip the splines. Only look on both sides of your splines here. Like I said, we don't see very much wear usually in the later versions of these things, but this one here must have been a really early version because these things are almost totally stripped. This is a what year? An 02? I would have thought this one might have had a hardened shell in it from the factory, but it doesn't. So I really don't know what's going on here. Because like I said, I don't think this thing's been out since it's been new, since he bought it new. But normally we see wear here. Through here and right around here from the bearing pushing really hard. But here we got splines that's almost stripped too. So, but we'll put a hardened shell in there and get rid of that problem. Get our sun gear out. We've been replacing almost every one of these things too because of the wear down in here on these teeth. I mean, I think we had 10 of them come in this morning. But you think we're going to be doing the transfer case, Teresa, too?
Yeah, we are.
We are? Okay. So look at your sprag assembly here. If it's bad, replace it. If there's any wear on the rollers or anything like that, get rid of it. Because these actually wear, this is an aluminum housing on this one. So they do a lot of wear on the inside at the end of the rollers and stuff. You want to Scotch Brite this up really good. Look for any wear, any grooving. This will go either direction. It isn't directional. So, I mean, you can flip it either way. Have our low reverse clutches here. And this tranny looks really nice for the miles it's on it. Never been touched, so. Splines here looks really good. Need to look here. You'll sometimes see wear down here on the end of it where this shaft physically bottoms out. Sometimes you'll see this start beating down inside there and actually cause its own little groove. So it'll start beating in there and put a groove all the way down. Next thing you know, this slides in that much farther than it should. So you want to check for that. You can kind of see it trying to happen a little bit there, but I've seen them where they're that deep. Check your ring gear on both sides of the teeth there. same way here. Any gears, any wobbling, any pitting. Check that little guy down in here, because this little bearing here is one of the killer things too, guys. Put that in there and press on it really hard and turning. You'll be able to tell, you'll feel something if it's there. And that feels really good, so not too bad. Now we're just going to be putting a stock converter in this, nothing beefy or anything like that. But we are going to do the lockup valve and make the converter work a lot better and all the bells and whistles. So, Teresa, I want to thank you again for recording. It's raining outside, guys, let me tell you, and we are enjoying it. So y'all don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful day.